this is Tina with You Made That, and I have a special guest today. I have Jake with us.
Hey, how's it going?
We remember Jake. He helped me when we hit 500 subscribers.
Oh
So
yeah.
but today he is going to talk to us about printing using his 3D printer.
Oh yeah. Lots to talk about. So yeah, I this has been a hobby of mine for a while is 3D printing. I don't know how familiar everyone is, but you're basically just putting in a roll of plastic and the machine will melt it and then draw a pattern in that plastic and it draws it vertically. And then when you're done, you have a 3D image. And so most people use it for like collectible figures, which is mostly what I'll be showing today. But there's lots of other applications. I use it at my job. I have an engineering job. And so we'll use that for what's called rapid prototyping, which is just making something physical really fast because it's much easier to get something like that built than take it to a machine shop and cut it out of a different material. So something that's used a lot, but I'm going to show how I use it for fun.
Yay! Yeah, so he decided to get his own 3D printer, I don't know, how many years ago?
That was my first apartment in Minnesota, so 2021 is when I
Wow.
got it. Yeah.
Okay. So he, need to experiment. Of course, he has a software program that you use too. You use
Mhm.
Blender at home, right?
Yes, and I will have to make another video about that because if I start talking about it and showing stuff, it'll take the whole time. So we'll show the products today, and I'm excited to do another one on the modeling side.
Ooh, cool. Yeah. So he would ask his brother, Josh, and I, hey, what do you guys want me to make and stuff. And so when he started out with his first 3D printer, he only had one color and it was white. So he would make things out of white. And here is an example of a Nintendo Switch character.
Oh, yep.
I'll have to upload a picture because it's like
He's all washed out. Yeah.
he's washed out. So I'll upload a picture. But
Mhm.
he's a character. He's a character.
He
And
is. He is. He's from the game Fall Guys. Some of you may have heard of it. It was a big craze a couple of years ago. Still fun to play.
yes, although I'm really bad at it, but that's okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
hope.
so Josh and I got these and it was up to us to paint them. So as you can tell, I never did. So now I
No,
need you
thank
to make
you.
me one.
Great. Great to see when you give someone a gift and they never use it.
Well, this is why. Okay, so then I requested an Animal Crossing character. It's a cute little elephant, and he made it for me, and it was white. So I painted it pink, and again washed out. But I'll insert a picture. I
Mhm.
painted her pink, and I really struggled with the eyes. Look, like okay, wait. One of them is higher than the other.
Yeah.
It's like really bad. So then you gotta paint over the one that's too high or too low. And so that's why I never painted this guy because, like, I'm not that good at painting them.
Yep.
So we were ecstatic when Jake decided, okay, rather than get a new 3D printer, I'm going to get one that can do color, but upgrade what I have. So we said, yay.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to upgrade what you have instead of just get a whole new one?
It is because I also hate painting stuff. So I was making my own characters and I would get so excited to just make the next one that I had a giant backlog and I still have a bucket full. And there's like 50 guys in there that are just all white. And I painted two of them. It wasn't fun. And I kind of saw this hobby going farther and becoming something I want to do more of. And so I thought it'll be more efficient, be more cohesiveness if I get it's called a multi-material upgrade. They call it MMU. And then I can just paint it digitally one time. So spend a couple hours just doing it digitally. And then every time you print it, it's already full color. And so in the long term, it's way faster. And if I enjoyed painting, then fine, but I don't. I enjoy building a lot more. So I bought the kit and built that. and added it to my printer. And since then, I've just been cranking them out and loving it.
Yay! We love it too. Josh is better at painting than I was, but I love it too. So now, and this probably won't work either, I'll
There
include
he
a
is.
picture of this guy. Actually, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Such detail on the printer. Now you can do 5 colors, right?
Yep. So I can print up to 5 colors at once. For a more complicated or maybe a larger model, you can do split up the models. So you could do 5 colors for one half, and then just put like a dividing line, print the other half with different colors, and then glue them together. So there's a lot more options of ways to extend that. But right now, I've been getting by with 5 colors. It works just fine.
Wow. And you usually print 3 at a time, right?
That's just because there's 3 of us. So when I make the characters, I know Mom wants one and Josh wants one, so I always just print 3 at once. It is much more efficient to print them all together because there's a something it has to do where it will stop the color bleeding by drawing a bunch of stuff over in the corner. And every time you do that, it takes a bunch of time and material. And so if you only have to do that once per print, then you should make a bunch of guys, and then you're only using that little wasted spot in the corner once for say 10 guys rather than for one guy at a time. So it's a lot more efficient. I don't know if that makes sense without watching it run, but
Well, when it goes from one color to the other, it has to like transition over
yep,
here. So you
yep,
end up with like this brick, right? Like
yeah.
solid
Grab a
of
brick.
waste.
Here's an example brick. So I
Wow.
should just show a guy. So here's a character. These bricks don't match, but I do save them. So as you're coming up the character, you have to switch colors. So it'll start with blue, then white, then teal, then orange, and it's going to progress up. And as it does that, it will switch and it draws a square on this block. And the whole point of that is to stop the colors from bleeding together. If you don't have this, it'll go right from white to orange to white. And now your white has a little bit of orange in it. And so the block is a place for it to go and rub all that extra off and then start with a clean color for your character.
Wow. And you can make something with the blocks, right?
I hope so. I have a giant pile of these. If anyone has ideas, leave them in the comments and tell me what I could do with 100 of these. They're hollow, so don't be too worried about the waste. But they're still large enough that I want to build a fort or something. They look like
Nice.
Legos.
What?
They look like Legos. They don't attach, but I should be able to build a castle, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, if you have an idea, put it in the comments. Okay, so you upgraded to color, and then you built this like enclosure around it. So we're excited to see that. I
Mhm.
don't know why you built the enclosure, but it looked cool. And you're going to take us on a tour of your 3D printer, right?
Yes, I am. So we'll do that, and then I also want to show you my largest project, which I recently finished, and I can show you some of those characters.
Ooh, do you want to show us that first?
Sure. Yeah, I've got them all here. So yeah, so when I started doing this, I wanted a goal. It's nice to just have something to work towards as you're learning a new skill. And so random characters here and there was fun, but I thought if I have a big project, it'll teach me more and I will get better at this a lot faster. And so actually, Fred, my stepdad, suggested that I make a board game. So I really like Marvel. That's one of my favorite things, and so I thought I should combine that with this new hobby. And so I made a Marvel chess set. So what you'll see is all the different characters. They're not labeled yet as pawns, rooks, kings, but there's the correct amount of them, and they're all lined up in their spots. So if anyone wants to play the game, I'll have to label them. But right now, it's just the characters because that's what I find fun about it. So here is that. Here is the board.
Wow.
So every chess set has a pawn, a rook, a knight, a bishop, a king, and a queen. So that's 7 different characters. I think I counted that right. And so I had to make 14 different characters to do a hero's side, which is in the front, and then a villain side, which is in the back. So there's 14 original characters. Well, they're all Marvel, but the models are originals. There are website sharing places that you can go and Google, I want a Captain America model, and you can download it. But to me, I take less pride in that. And so I wanted to make all of them myself. So all of these models I made digitally and then printed them on the printer that I built. So let me do a close up of a couple of my favorites. This one is one of my favorites in particular. This is the character Colossus. Feel free to Google him, or maybe we can slap a picture up there. But he has a lot of cool colors. And what you'll notice about this character is that he's really shiny. So he is actually made of metal. That's his superpower. One of the things that I found out you can do is coat 3D printed plastic in resin. So my wife and I went out on the deck and we mixed these resins together, and it turns into this goo. And you have like 30 minutes to use it all before it dries up. And so we had a fun time frantically painting all these in resin. But it gives them this really cool shiny quality. They're sturdier, so if I drop them, the resin helps it not break apart. And so that was really fun. I thought I should point out why he looks like that. Another one that people seem to like is this robot. He's called the Sentinel. These are all X-Men characters from Marvel. If you're familiar, my friend Jeff will want me to make a DC one, but I'm not as big a fan, so we'll get to that later. But this one's just fun. The purple turned out really good. Again, the shiny. One last thing that I want to point out is the bases. So they all have an original base that's customized to the character. So this one has some of his steel girders and the X symbol. And then this one has fire because he has the power of flight with jet engines. So they're all customized, and then black for the black side of the chessboard and white for the white side. That way you can tell them apart. So just little details like that I wanted to include in the characters to make it feel more like something you'd buy at the store. And I think I've captured that, at least in my first draft of the board.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you for showing us those up close. Yeah. Let's check out your printer.
All right. So here is the printer with the enclosure. So I can open this door here. Everything here I built. So the enclosure is all custom. I had to design that as well. And then the printer is from a company called Prusa, and that was sent to me as a kit with instructions. So I had to put that together, calibrate it, and then do some test runs to get it working. So if you follow me inside the printer, so here's the printer itself. I'm going to move the camera so you can see. Oh. That is the build plate. So this kind of greenish color. You can see a little bit of, there's glue on there just to keep the part stuck. And then the black piece right here is the extruder, and that's where the plastic comes out of. So a lot of people, when I show them this, they say, well, shouldn't there be 5 of those for each color? But no, that's the beauty of the MMU attachment. So up here, you have a control box, and it will pull in a string of each color and then jog over to the one that it wants. So it has 5 different ports here, and those correlate to 5 different colors that I have in this box that I made. And so the colors are connected by these cables to the control box, and then it will choose which one it wants as it goes through the program. So that's how it chooses between them. And then it's just going to leave behind the other ones, use the desired color, and then switch back for the next layer.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah, that might be hard to understand the first time around, but it's really fun once you get used to it. So that's how the printer works. It's right here. It goes, this moves the extruder up and down to make a taller character. This will move it back and forth for width. And then the extruder itself can slide towards the camera and away from the camera. So those are all the axes of movement. And then I just thought I'd mention, so the point of the box, because they don't sell it with the box, they just sell the printer. A lot of people will just throw them on a table and call it a day. but you are melting plastic, so there is a risk of fumes when you're doing this. So a lot of people recommend you do it in a garage or a well ventilated room of the house. Since we're in a 2-person apartment, we don't have a lot of rooms or a lot of options. And so I'm doing it here in our office, which doesn't have a window that you can open. So what I've done is built the enclosure, and that has even like rubber some rubber gaskets and stuff to try and seal it as best as I can. And then I have an air purifier that's attached to the top, and it has the only vent hole in the whole box. So all of the fumes would rise up. There's a fan to help facilitate that, and it comes right into the air purifier, which is rated for printer plastic, and then it goes right through. So also, so you don't worry about me, I'm using PLA, which is considered the least toxic, if non-toxic completely, material that you can use. So I'm doing it in a safe way, but I thought it's best to add the purifier anyway. And so that's the point of the box. Box has a lot of other features which are really nice. This fan also helps with cooling so that it doesn't get jammed up. That's another thing that can happen. And then I can keep all of my tools. So you probably saw that when I opened the door. I have all of my tools nicely set here. So I have screwdrivers and pliers and things if I need to fix anything, tweak anything, or for when I remove the parts to get them off of the printer plate. So that's what I have this for. The last added benefit is noise reduction. It can be kind of loud, and so for a longer print, if I'm going to do one that might take up to 24 hours, like that larger character I showed earlier, Colossus, that would take a long time. And if I was single and alone here, that would be fine. But I have a wife who shares a space, so I've tried my best to soundproof it for her, and I think we did pretty good. So
Hi.
that's a flyover view of the enclosure and the printer itself.
Okay. So people probably have questions that I'm not going to ask. So put them in the comments. We'll check those and reply. Um, so obviously you made orange pen holders, tool
Yep.
holders, and glued them to the front. Okay.
Yep.
So when you have a 3D printer, if you need something around the house, you just make it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. There are even 3D printers that are made by 3D printers. So some people will just go out and buy the computer chips and spend $100 on that, and then they print all of the other pieces so that they don't have to buy anything else, which is just kind of a hilarious concept. Yeah.
What is that black box on the front?
Um, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a failed idea that I had, which I just
Oh,
left there. It was going to be a window. I've got a couple other electronic pieces, and so there's a power strip that I've bolted onto the back of the box, and I want all those cords to come out this window, and then I have this little sliding mechanism. But I printed it way too tight, and so it doesn't slide very smooth, and I ended up just cutting a hole in the back and throwing a grommet on there. So all the wires just come out the back instead, and it looks a little uglier. So I'm not going to show that, but the little window was a fun concept. And if I feel like redesigning it, then I'll do that.
okay. Sorry, I brought up the
Uh,
failed.
that's okay. Yeah. There, one of the other items that I have wired in there is a printer camera that I got from you. And so I can actually start a print and go to work. And if I want to check on it, it's connected to my phone. And so it's kind of like a baby sitting camera or a dog sitting camera. And I can look at it and it'll show me what's going on. So if anything has gone wrong and I need to stop it, I can stop it from my phone and then come back, and it won't have ruined or wasted any more material.
Yeah, when you had that on your Christmas list, it was like, yeah, he needs that. That makes sense. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times you'll print things at night, in the middle of the
Yep.
night, right?
Yep. It's really nice for that too, because yeah, I might get, the urge to get up and check it. It's a big disappointment when something goes wrong. There's still a lot of things that can go wrong, and you wake up expecting to have your finished thing that you were looking forward to all night, and it's just a giant pile of plastic. It kind of looks like a tumbleweed. And so that's a huge disappointment. So yeah, I will check it sometimes at night just to make sure it's running smoothly. And if it's not, I'll get up and turn it off and try again in the morning.
That's a good point, is that it isn't always foolproof. And then when something goes wrong, of course you do this at work too, but when
Yep.
something goes wrong, you got to troubleshoot and okay, why did this happen? So
Hmm. Yeah, that's another part of having a personal printer. These are very complex things. So the one that I bought cost less than $1,000. The ones that we use at work cost several tens of thousands of dollars. So if I ever felt like blowing a year's savings and buying a really nice one, it wouldn't have any problems. But I think that'd be really irresponsible. So I make do with the quality that I could afford.
nice. Well, it looks like good quality. I mean, we love it. And
Mm.
and then it comes in handy for Christmas presents too,
Oh yeah.
because the card maker, I send him these things. Hey, Christina has this for her inks. Can you make me one?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
Jake says, do you guys get tired of me 3D printing you things for Christmas? And we say, no way, bring it.
I know. It's a fun way to make gifts because you can really personalize things. If there's something you've always wanted, whether it's useful or just fun, I can just do it, whether it exists or not. I can just make it for you. And to me, that's a fun way to give a gift. But to someone else, they might think, well, you didn't go to the store and you didn't shop for me. And, to them, it might seem like it's free, even though it's not. It's a lot of time and material, but they might think, well, you didn't buy me anything. That's not a gift. And so I always wanted to ask and make sure that you're okay with that, because I think it's a really fun, unique way of gift giving.
Well, here on You Made That, we are all about making things. And when you make things, you appreciate the time and the energy that someone else put into something
Oh
that
yeah.
they made you. So, as a maker, you understand that stuff. And if you don't want it because they didn't go to a store, then you don't make them anything else. That's
Yeah. Cross them off your list and give it to the people that appreciate it.
exactly.
Mhm.
So, yeah, what I wanted to say when you showed us that enclosure was, wait, you made that? But,
I did. Yeah. I actually had an old one, which I'm glad I'm not presenting today. It was plastic and it was cheap and it was slanted. And so I've actually spent the last about 4 weeks doing this new one, which has aluminum siding. So I bought some new drill tips that could cut through that, a bunch of new materials, and I made a metal siding frame for the box, and it's way straighter. It looks a lot better. So really happy with how the new one turned out.
yeah, it looks really solid.
Yep, it's heavy. So
How big is the platform where you can the guys actually print on?
yeah, I'll show you. But it is a
Oh, you can take it out.
yep. So it's magnetic, so you can take it out. So here it is. It's a 10 by 10 platform, but you can't use the edges just because there will be limits to where the printer can get to, and if it builds off the edge, then your stuff is going to fall apart. So I always do it within a 9 by 9 frame, and so that's really big. You can make a lot of stuff. They do sell bigger ones, which maybe one day I'll get, so I can make giant dumb things.
So if you make 3 and then you've got that extra brick, so is it just does it show up randomly on that platform, or are they like 2 in front, 1 in back, and then the brick?
It's up to me. So on the software, you can once you've got your models, you can place them. You can also place the brick, and there's actually a whole art to how you arrange things to save cost and printing time. And so printing it, standing up may not always be the best way to go about it. So there's a lot of other considerations and things to learn, which I think is fun. Other people might get frustrated, but there's ways that you can make it more efficient. So it's all about how you want to do it.
Wow. Wow. Sounds so hard.
One more thing I want to make sure I showed today. There we go. So there's another concept that you couldn't really do when you're making plastic parts in your house up until now, and that's printing joints. So this is something that people have found you can do with 3D printers because it builds from the ground up. You can make interlocking loops that are all one piece, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's really cool. So you can build these loops all as one piece, so it's solid, and then you just remove the support material that's in between, and now they move. So this is something I made for Casey because she likes Harry Potter, and so it's the basilisk from the second movie, but it moves and it's really fun as just like a fidget toy, or when you're bored, or you can pose it different ways on your desk. But I wanted to show that because it's another thing that's really cool you can do with printers.
How do you remove the supports?
Pliers and patience. So yeah, it has to build something underneath. So when you have a gap, or even for the open mouth, you can't just build on air. So it has to draw on something. So there will be really thin layers of material in there, and you just get a tweezers. I have them all over the box. A tweezers or pliers of different sizes, and you go in and you just pick it out. So that's another thing.
And isn't there some sort of support that evaporates or
Yeah.
dissolves or something?
Yep, there is. It's $80 a roll, so I haven't bought it yet. Normal rolls are like 15 to 20 bucks, but there is a water soluble support, and I've used that at work, which is really fun. You build the whole thing; it'll be kind of enclosed in like a box, like it looks like Han Solo and carbonite, and then you just stick the whole thing in this saltwater solution, and it dissolves, and then you pull it out an hour later, and it's just your part. So it takes out all the hassle and gets you even better quality.
Wow. Christmas list for Jake,
Yep.
water soluble filament.
That would be fun. Yeah, I wouldn't object to that.
You can use it with your printer, right?
Yep, it
Okay.
uses it. The only bummer is that it takes one of your spots. So I'd be left with four colors to design with, and then that would be the fifth color.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
Mhm.
Wow. Thanks, Jake. Again, if you
Yeah.
guys have comments or questions below, Jake can answer them.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. And this is great. Like, I appreciate that. This is
Yeah,
fun.
this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that you're interested and asked a lot of questions. I would love to do another one if you can fit me on your schedule and talk about the software. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, looking forward to collaborating again.
All right. Well, thanks. And hey, when we hit 1,000 subs, maybe you will we'll swap places again. So,
That'd be cool. Looking forward to it.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, share, all the things, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. I have to kneel.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, you
I
can.
just like feels funny.
Oh, sure.
Makes me feel like a fool. Okay.